I had just wrapped up 3 weeks of work at my sister's house, expecting to hear thanks, but instead, I unintentionally heard her talking to her mother-in-law. "It's handy having someone so naive who'll work for nothing," she said. The next day, she wished she'd bitten her tongue. Even now, my cheeks burn remembering it, like it just happened. My hands shook when I sat to write this. I hadn't planned to speak up. I wasn't going to mention it. But sometimes, something claws at you until you can't swallow it. 3 weeks, 21 days of sanding, a total makeover of my sister's new place. Stacy and her fiancé had married a month before. Big ceremony, crowds of guests, all the fuss. Everyone was all smiles, raising glasses, talking about new chapters. My parents and I gave them the ultimate gift, this house. Not a rental, not some crumbling mess for them to stress over, a proper, solid home. My parents paid most, and I added $100,000 from my savings. They didn't even pause. They didn't ask. I insisted. No strings. I just wanted to help. The house needed serious work, though. Not the kind you can hack after watching a few videos. So I took time off and got busy. Rewired the kitchen, replaced every pipe in the bathroom. New floors, cabinets, counters, backsplash, appliances. The bathroom was stripped to the studs. 2 new vanities, fresh lights, a tub I wrestled inside after waiting hours in the rain. This wasn't a refresh, it was a resurrection. And I did it alone. I wasn't expecting a medal. I didn't need her singing my praises to the world. Just basic human decency. A thank you? Maybe a sandwich while I worked? Anything. Instead, I got Karen, her mother-in-law. Stacy's fiancé's mom appeared the first week, swanning around like she owned the joint. She'd parade in her ugly designer sneakers, poking walls and saying, "I'd put the fridge here," or "brass taps would have been fancier," like she was some design queen and I was her unpaid minion. I mostly tuned her out. Annoying, but harmless. So I thought. Near the 3rd week's end, I'd just sealed the upstairs tub and could finally see the finish line. The house looked unreal. Spotless, polished, ready for living. I felt proud. One last tidy up, a few touch-ups, and I'd be done. Then I caught voices. At first, I thought it was neighbors. Windows were open, but the words got sharper, closer. Then I realized Stacy and Karen were downstairs in the kitchen, gabbing, clueless I was still here. That's when I heard it. Stacy, my sister, giggled and said, "Thank God for suckers like him who'll break their backs for free." Just like that. Like I was air. Karen didn't miss a beat, simpering, "That's my clever girl. You know how to handle people." I stood frozen. Shock first. Then white-hot rage. Then this crushing weight on my chest. My mind spun in 10 directions. All those hours, the cash, the sweat, the bruises, for this? I wanted to wreck the bathroom, tear out the cabinets, bash the faucet with a wrench. I could have done it in minutes, but I didn't. I walked back to the bathroom, stood there, fists clenched. Then I breathed, grabbed tools, and started sabotaging my work, smartly, not obviously, just enough to unravel later. Loosened the drain pipe so it'd drip slowly. Unsealed a few tiles. Scuffed the stove's surface, invisible until used. I kept working like nothing was wrong. Coming downstairs later, they were leaving. Stacy said they'd stay at her in-laws that night. I said I'd lock up after final checks. They left, and I made sure they'd choke on every word. Next morning, my phone exploded. 8 missed calls from Stacy by 9 a.m. Texts flooded in. "What's up with the bathroom? Why's the fridge stinking? Are you screwing with us?" I ignored them, let them sweat. By 10:30, the tone shifted. "Fix this now. You owe us." Karen's raging. Karen left a voicemail muttering about lawyers. I actually chuckled. An hour later, they banged on my door. Stacy playing confused, Karen in full meltdown. They hurled accusations. "Explain the sink. What's with the fridge?" The oven's cursed. All while pretending they'd done nothing wrong. I said I was done, that I'd heard every word, that Stacy's sucker brother had ears, and now he was gone. Karen sneered about maturity. I told her to take her grown daughter and son-in-law and get lost. Then I shut the door. I drove straight to my parents, told them everything, played the voicemail, repeated their slurs. Dad just nodded, jaw tight. Mom was livid, not just at Stacy's words, but her gall. We called Stacy together, told her the house wasn't hers anymore. Not legally, not after this. She could bunk with Karen, since she valued her so much. Regret hit instantly. Her texts switched to, "It was a joke. Can we talk?" Still no real apology, just panic dressed as remorse. I didn't reply. Later, Karen, her son, Stacy's husband Matt, and Stacy charged into my parents' house, demanding to talk. Karen's fake concerned act was pathetic. Dad shut her down. "You mocked my son, abused our generosity, and now want to chat?" The twist? The deed was only in Dad's name. Stacy had lied to Matt, saying it'd be theirs after the wedding. Karen gaped. Matt glared at Stacy. Stacy studied her shoes. Mom gave them 2 days to clear out before we'd rekey. Karen ranted about family. Dad laughed, a cold, hollow sound, and slammed the door. We sold the house months later. Stacy never reached out until I bumped into her at the store. She looked wrecked. No Karen, no Matt, just her, muttering, "I left Karen." She admitted Karen had manipulated her, that Matt had divorced her, that she'd trusted liars. She apologized, flatly, no dramatics. She asked if we could fix things. I said I didn't know. That the bridge she'd let Karen burn wasn't just charred, it was gone. And that's where we are. The air between us at the grocery store was thicker than the humidity before a summer storm. Stacy stood there, her shoulders slumped under the weight of that oversized sweatshirt, looking like she hadn't slept properly in months. The confident woman who'd laughed about having a sucker to do her bidding was gone, replaced by this hollowed-out version of my sister. "I don't know what to say," she murmured, her fingers picking at a loose thread on her sleeve. The fluorescent lights of the frozen food aisle made the dark circles under her eyes look even more pronounced. I didn't either. The anger had cooled into something else. Not forgiveness, not yet, but maybe the beginnings of understanding. Karen's poison had infected everything, and Stacy had been too blind or too eager to please to see it. "You look tired," was all I could manage. Not an olive branch, just an observation. She barked out a laugh that sounded more like a cough. That's one way to put it. Her eyes darted to the freezer case, then back to me. "Matt's gone, filed for annulment. Said living with Karen was like being trapped in some twisted reality show." I nodded, remembering how Matt had shown up at my work months ago, that desperate look in his eyes. He'd seen the truth too late, just like Stacy was seeing it now. The store's PA system announced a sale on ground beef, the cheerful voice at odds with our heavy silence. Stacy shifted her weight from foot to foot, that nervous habit she'd had since we were kids. "Mom and Dad," she started, then stopped, swallowed hard. "Are they—" I shook my head. Not ready. The words came out gentler than I'd expected. Maybe not ever, honestly. Her face crumpled for just a second before she schooled her features back into that careful blankness. "Yeah, I figured a beat. I'm staying with Jen from accounting now." The couch pulls out. The image of my sister, the bride who'd gotten a house as a wedding gift, sleeping on a pull-out couch in some apartment, should have felt like justice. Instead, it just felt sad. The automatic doors at the front of the store whooshed open and closed as shoppers came and went. A kid in the next aisle was whining for candy. Normal life happening all around us while we stood there in our little pocket of wreckage. "I should—" Stacy gestured vaguely toward the produce section, already stepping backward. That old familiar avoidance, the same way she'd always ducked out of tough conversations. "Yeah." I didn't stop her. Watched as she turned and walked away, her sneakers squeaking on the linoleum. She paused once, halfway down the aisle, shoulders tense like she might turn around, but she didn't. I finished my shopping in a daze, the encounter replaying in my head. At the checkout, the cashier made small talk about the weather as she scanned my items. I nodded along, my responses automatic. Outside, the sunlight was shockingly bright. I loaded the groceries into my car and just sat there for a minute, hands on the wheel. The house was sold, the money divided, the legal stuff all squared away. But this, seeing Stacy again, made it all fresh somehow. My phone buzzed. A text from Mom. Dinner tonight? Dad's grilling. Normalcy, routine, the life we'd rebuilt after the explosion. I typed back a quick, "Sure," and started the car. As I pulled out of the parking lot, I caught a glimpse of Stacy through the store's window, staring at a display of oranges like they held the answers to all her questions. The light turned green. I drove away. I saw Stacy one final time 6 months later at our aunt's funeral. She sat in the back row, shoulders hunched, looking smaller than I remembered. The dark circles under her eyes had deepened, her once shiny hair now dull and pulled into a messy bun. Our eyes met during the service, just for a second. She looked away first. After the burial, as people milled around with plates of sandwiches, I found her standing alone by the dessert table, picking at a slice of cake she wasn't eating. "Hey," I said. She startled, nearly dropping her plate. "Hey." An awkward silence stretched between us. The last time we'd spoken was in the grocery store, that stilted conversation about Karen and Matt. Now, months later, the distance felt wider. "You look okay," she finally said, the words careful. I shrugged. "I am." Another pause. Around us, relatives chatted, laughed, shared memories. The funeral home smelled like flowers and coffee. Stacy set her plate down, untouched. "I'm moving," she blurted. "To Colorado. Got a job at a ski resort, cleaning rooms, but it's something." I nodded. "That's good." She twisted her hands together, knuckles white. I needed to get away. From all of it. I understood. The house was gone. Karen had turned on her. Matt had left. Our parents wouldn't take her calls. There was nothing left for her here. "I hope it's better there," I said. She let out a shaky breath. "Yeah, me too." We stood there, two strangers who'd once been siblings. The air between us was thick with everything unsaid, the hurt, the betrayal, the years we'd never get back. Then quietly, she added, "I really am sorry." It was the first real apology she'd ever given me. No excuses, no blaming Karen. Just 3 simple words. I didn't say it's okay, because it wasn't, but I did say, "I know." She nodded, eyes glistening, and turned to leave. I watched her walk away, her figure growing smaller until she disappeared into the crowd. That was the last time I saw my sister. Sometimes, when the weather turns cold, I wonder if she's looking at the same gray skies from wherever she is now. If she ever thinks about the house, or the wedding, or the brother who spent 3 weeks fixing something that was broken long before he got there. But I don't reach out, and neither does she. If you enjoyed this story and felt the emotions behind it, don't forget to give it a like, share it with others, and subscribe to the channel for more real-life experiences and heartfelt stories. Your support means the world, and it helps us bring more content like this to you. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.